Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, we've got another one of our fan favourites, the BScast. For all of you in the know, you'll know what the BS stands for. I sit down with Paul Williams and James Panas, and we get our talk on. So, this is another one for you guys to listen to. So check this one out. This one's Cookiecast BScast.
So you've got Villa tomorrow, then we've got Villa on Saturday. He's already started recording.
Will anybody be fighting in that game?
You little slag. You started recording then, didn't tell us.
He's waiting for this.
We could have been saying anything. We could have been saying that you were right. Shit. Hey, what?
Did Tom ever come back on that?
What?
He said, I was like, testing. He said Tom Ash was like, Andy, cock, didn't he?
Thoughts? Question mark. He was like, no, you're absolutely wrong. Andy's probably one of my better mates.
Unfortunately, I had seen him go, turn round, look at your desk, see me sit there, go back to his computer.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's funny.
He's a funny lad.
Helen was saying that she doesn't really know how to take him sometimes.
Sorry?
No, that'd be funny if it was the other way round. But
No. Absolutely not.
That sometimes he'll like say something, you know, like when he comes out with these like outrageous like sexism and stuff or whatever, and he'll say something.
No one actually thinks it's true.
No, but she's like, oh yeah, I get his banter, right? But his face apparently never cracks. He like remains in character.
Oh yeah,
he's got
and then she's like,
face.
She's like, we're looking at each other, and I'm thinking, yeah. Any second now he's going to go, yeah, I was joking, but he just says that, and then we're like looking at each other, and it's like, but right. It's weird.
But if he says he's joking, then it doesn't have quite the impact, does it?
Well, everyone knows that if you say something that's offensive, you go, yeah, but I'm joking.
You know.
You mean just like before?
I called you
just before you're going to say something really awful, you go,
yeah. No offence.
just being honest.
No offence, but I think you're possibly the worst person I've ever met.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's all right because you caveat.
I'm only joking.
Yeah.
Literally, shit sandwich right there.
This is like we used to play football with a guy who
no offence, but
shit.
Under his own admission, not a very good footballer, not very talented. You know, wasn't very coordinated as far. But he used to foul people by accident. But he then used to sort of go, "Oh, sorry, I mistimed that there." Like, you know, but it's not a foul because I didn't mean to foul you. What? It's not how it works, Steve. If you've scythed me down just because you didn't mean to do it, it's definitely a free kick.
Yeah.
I can see him now. He's playing for like England or something in the World Cup, and I don't know how he's got into the England team. Like, that's without me. But he's accidentally.
Is that like Beckham's? It's not red. It's definitely a yellow.
Yeah, basically. Amazing.
Instantly. I don't want to like use too much content for that we might use later.
Yeah.
How did Pickford stay on the field this week?
I haven't seen any of this, so I've based on other things that we'll cover at a later date. I have actively avoided football this weekend, and obviously because we don't know when this is going out, this weekend could be. Any weekend.
Why have you actively avoided?
Well,
because he's seen his ass, hasn't he?
I'll cover this in another podcast we will record.
Oh, right, okay.
Because it got me. Let's just say annoyed or irritated.
Oh, is this the TP thing?
Oh, it might just well be. I've given him a pass up until now, but now he can pretty much go fuck himself. Anyway, so moving on.
So, previously...
Right, you've got another topic here, haven't you? You've got something... Oh, look at that little grin. He's got something up his sleeve that he's going to absolutely nail us with.
So you wanted a subject, and previously, both of you, I was like, this is a subject that you'll both hate, but I imagine if you get in a little bit...
I was going to say, where's he going with this? You'll both hate it, but if you just try it,
you might like it.
I think you'll like it.
I'm gonna put him in but I'm gonna rip him out like a starter motor.
As Sam
You know when
says
you were a
about
kid?
certain games and they've
You know,
got the anal bead level design.
You know what I was going to say? You know, you had that. Well, I was just going to say, you know, when you were a kid and you had those like sort of helicopter
things.
Yeah, and you had to rip the thing out like that to like get it to sort of go. And it would like, ooh, and then you'd be thinking, oh yeah, I'm sure I've seen that something before. At 8 years old.
Anyway, what's the subject we're going to go with?
So
you know, you said you wanted to do an X-rated
podcast after that. So I said something to somebody today, and I said, we were trying to like talk about who would be which Star Wars character. So you're straight.
Oh, well,
so I went. Does that make me Yoda then? And quickly I was like, hang on a minute. If I'm, probably going to be Chewie.
I was going to say my mind went Chewie with you.
So
I will be
JK's
one of the
like,
base level stormtroopers.
JK's like, yeah, Yoda, but after, and I was like, Yoda after the music, and I'm like, that's deep cuts, is that?
What, like as in Alf from that Family Guy episode?
Yeah.
By the second season, I was just completely wasted all the time.
Cutting the shit out of my foot. So I was like,
Rich and Helen and James were having this conversation
after the music
at their desk as well, because James was like, "Oh, this is me," and James was like trying to play Richard confident. He was going, "You'd obviously be like Vader," and Richard's like,
Vader?
"No, I'd be the Emperor."
Hang on, whoa. When you say Vader, do you mean as in ex-wrestler Red Mask? The man they call Vader? R.I.P. He's sadly no longer with us.
But he's like, no, I'd obviously be the Emperor.
Is that different?
That probably makes sense.
Hang on,
He put himself down as Mace Windu today.
Who knows? James. Oh, yeah, but...
I have not got a clue.
And I think Helen had gone down as the... I think Richard nominated Helen to be Grievous.
So who gets the Vader mantle?
I don't know.
Oh, this is got some controversy. So
he put him down as Mace Windu. Why?
Put himself down as Mace
Why
Windu.
though?
Just in the conversation we were having. But I'm like,
I just
I'm
want to know
Yoda. But I was like Yoda after the music, which was basically me saying Yoda after doing all the drugs. Which I think, really, that's probably Yoda at that point in time. I think because he's like 900 years old, so that's probably what he looks like after doing all the drugs.
Yeah.
Like, he just gets smaller the more drugs he does. I imagine he was 6'8" when he started.
Now, there's a question for you. Is there plans to do a Yoda origin story?
There was plans to do a lot. Those plans changed drastically after.
How much of like a backstory to all that is there that isn't?
The extended universe, there's just
endless.
When you get rid of all like the random fan stuff though, how much like is
there's loads. There's
legit
loads
stuff.
Loads carried on, like a lot in like the comics, and then you've got like even the games. Some of the games carry like.
It's just presuming no one wants to see it because they changed the Solo one.
Yeah, the Solo thing basically killed a lot of that franchise. So brace yourselves. I know that back in the day, you used to like a little bit of the. I think you were more a keyboard and mouse kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I know that this man has used a controller before. So
I used to play the FIFAs. Pro Evo Soccer back in the day.
That'd be with Jimbo, wouldn't it?
Yeah, played some sensible World of Soccer.
Oh my!
So question:
with your boy.
What was the last game you played? Which you might have already answered this, but last game you played.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean like to completion?
Just like the last time you had a controller.
I've got a doozy to throw your way.
Are you talking like for a decent amount of time? Because like my brother's well into games, and I'll like have a go for like 20 minutes and be like, I'm too old for this.
So what was the last thing you played?
Brothers.
Yeah, it's proper brutal outside.
Just the wind.
It's bad news.
It'll have been something on these like what's that Steam console thing now that they've
Yeah.
Something on that. It'll have been like an indie game like to, like basically to like showcase physics engines and stuff like that. Those kind of like puzzly type games. But I suppose stuff like your Little Big Planet type games, that kind of stuff.
Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
I used to have grievance with that game because I couldn't understand what the concept was.
It was just to really kind of like showcase physics, wasn't it? Really, but we played that from start to finish in one night, whilst waiting for World of Warcraft to come out of the supermarket at midnight, back before you got digital downloads. We sat there from 6 till 12.
I have issues.
So you just caned Little Big Planet and then drove down.
I have issues.
Get World of Warcraft. What?
You said you played Little Big Planet from start to finish. Is the point of that game not that it's unfinishable because people can upload their universes to the site?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, you can upload your own versions of the levels and stuff, but it will have its core.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
This was when it was like, you
like
imagine,
it was a PS3 launch game, wasn't it? Or if you're not, it came out very, very closely after. Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to think, it'd have been, because I could probably work it out by which Warcraft we were buying.
Is it still getting released?
World of Warcraft.
No, Warcraft.
Yeah.
Do they ever do new games?
Blizzard.
Well, is it a case of say if I bought the most up to date version of World of Warcraft,
you just have to buy all the old ones because they're all like expansions.
Right. Well, that was what I was going to say.
It is one game.
That's what I was going to say. Was it a case of if I log on to play World of Warcraft cityscapes scenes, blah blah blah, whatever, and you're still playing World of Warcraft dick in a box version?
You can only play because it's been like an MMO rather than like a single player game. You can only ever play the current one. So basically, whenever you buy the current one, you'll get like a deal on all of the other ones because it updates the game.
You all told me what an MMO was before. I'm trying to remember it. Don't say Mega Multi Online.
Very close.
Massive multiplayer online.
Mass multi online.
Role playing game. I never like the tag of role playing game because it has negative connotations to me. Like if you go, I play a role playing game, like that's
shows your kit then.
Bit of D&D.
Yeah. But no, that's the game that I have that I played most. I mean, you get in app stock for like
hang on,
well over a year now because that was consuming.
I've heard. I've never sort of asked you about it, but I mean, you've said I used to play World of Warcraft.
Yeah, a lot.
And I used to play it a lot.
But there's a lot of people like Keep and Elise used to play it a lot.
Together.
Tim Lacey used to play it a lot as well.
He's a wower, was he?
Yeah. Interesting. I think prior to having a child and realising that I've got absolutely
actual responsibility. To be fair, I'd avoided it for forever, and then a couple of years ago, a mate of mine was like, "Oh, there's a way you can play it for free," because I was never going to pay for it. He's like, "There's a way you can play it for free."
You can get like trial accounts and
it won't be the most current version. It'll be like an older version. It's like held on like a local server and stuff. You can just play it like that, and it's free. So I was like, free's free. So I put it on and I made a character and things, and I set out into the world of Warcraft. And 20 minutes in, I went, "Yeah, I'm going to turn this off." So I turned it off, and then I uninstalled it because I was like,
I still maintain
it was going to consume.
I still maintain it's a fantastic game, but you're only really going to get a lot out of it if you actually play. It's not like these days people want like pick up and play games like casual games, don't they? It's not.
My old housemate, he played it on the day it came out, and he was still playing it. He's probably playing it right now.
Yeah.
Like whatever happened to him?
He bought a house and sold it.
But
he's probably playing it right now.
It's consuming. The only other game I used to play outside of that is like Counter Strike, so it's a Half-Life 2 mod.
I had the orange box.
So that would have been. Was that all the original Half-Life?
All of the Half-Life, and then
You've got like Team Fortress on there.
Team Fortress.
Day of Defeat.
Portal? Was Portal?
Yeah, well, Portal maybe came a bit later. I think was Portal part of Half-Life 2 rather than Half-Life 1. It used like the same kind of engines and stuff though, didn't it? I never had Portal, but my housemate at the time was
I'm sure I watched someone play Portal or Portal 2, and I didn't really understand what the fuck I was watching. And they're like, well, you just basically make like a wormhole and then travel through it. It was like, why is that then? It's like, just 'cause it's part of the game. It was like, oh.
Again, I think it was more to like showcase like what they could do with engines rather than it being the game itself.
I played and finished the first one, and then the second one came along, and I saw like trailers for it. I was like.
And probably a lot of it was it was like a holding it. I mean, how long did Half-Life 2 was literally like 10 years in the making or something like that.
Yeah, we're still waiting for
Half-Life 3. Yeah, no, that's like a joke, isn't it? But so they're releasing. But I played all those games. They were all right.
Come on then, Paul.
With your doozy?
So, the last game I played on a console would probably have been... I bought a copy of Metal Gear Solid 4, Sons of the Patriots, I think that one.
Do you know, I can remember playing Metal Gear Solid 2 on PS1 or PS2.
So bought a copy of that for about £1.
Yeah.
Because I'd never played it before. This is a PS3.
Because look there, the Phantom Pain. Is that 5?
I have no idea. I don't even know. Is that a Metal Gear Solid? I keep seeing that box and just thinking, I wonder what the Phantom Pain is. Is that a Metal Gear Solid?
Which one are we looking at?
Above the Crew and below Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I could get out of this chair easily, I'd great.
But yeah, like, I bought a copy of that because it was about £1 or £1.50 or something like that in Game Exchange or whatever the fuck it's called now. And played it for about an hour, and then obviously got a bit bored.
Was it a bit slow for you?
It wasn't even the fact that it was slow. It was just a case I was like, do you know what? I'm really not into it. I just don't have the patience to play games anymore, which is weird because before that the last game that I properly played and completed was probably Uncharted 3, and I played and really enjoyed all of the Uncharted games.
That was like the Mr. version of Tomb Raider.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
And another one that I also like remember playing and enjoying and then getting a couple of the sequels of was Resident Evil 4. I got that for the I think I got that for the PS3, completed it, then was like, oh yeah, I enjoyed that, I'll get 5. Played that, wasn't as good as 4,
no,
but it was still good.
But it was okay.
Then got 6, got about 2 hours into it and was like,
I remember
bored of this now.
I had a Resident Evil game on the PS1. I was one of the cool kids. I had my PS1 chipped, so I could play it. So I could be playing the special games. Not well.
So it will have either been Resident Evil or it will have been Resident Evil 2. Which they've recently.
Did it have like a sub-name? Was it like Nemesis or something like that?
Definitely wasn't.
Like that, yeah?
Nemesis was. Is that 2?
They've
redone it recently.
But it was definitely on the PlayStation, and not the rebranded PS1, like the original.
The OG
PlayStation.
I still own Resident Evil.
Interesting.
For the PlayStation. The original.
I remember when I first got a PlayStation, I thought this is
the pinnacle.
It was so incredible compared to like prior to that. I'd had the Mega Drive too.
Yeah. My mate Luke. Big shout out to Luke. His brother Mark had a PlayStation, and we went round to his flat, and he had like 4 games, and one of them was.
But you even think like obviously they looked a bit different than that.
Battle Arena Toshinden,
right?
And like we were just like, what is this black magic on the screen?
Because it was incredible compared to.
It was like, what's going on? What is this? What is that?
Before I got mine, one of my good mates, Chris, he got one early, and he had the Aliens game on there. That was a scary game. I mean, it's taken me. What is it? Aliens is 40 years old this year, is it something? So it took me
38 years.
30, yeah. But I played the game. You sat in like your mate's bedroom in the dark or whatever, and like there's a facehugger on the screen or whatever like that.
Facehugger.
Yeah. Well, they're called facehuggers, aren't they? Yeah. That was a scary game. Yeah.
What's he found?
Well, it was just so I found the. So it was a Resident Evil. Then there was Resident Evil 2 released in 1998, There was a prequel, apparently, called Resident Evil 0 that was released in 2002.
I'm guessing the one from 98 would have been the one I'd have been playing.
Let's have a look. It was followed by Resident Evil 3 Nemesis in 1999.
That'll be it then, because I know it would have been pre-2000. But yeah, Nemesis seemed to ring a bell.
Yeah, still on the PlayStation.
Oh, you bastard.
But what I was going to say was, I am currently playing a game on my tablet through an emulator of
Sonic.
Pokemon Sapphire.
The Pokemons, which is on today's podcast, which makes no sense because this will be, as you keep saying, this will be released in like a long time.
Ah, is that what Sam's discussing?
Today's podcast is Paul's got Pokemon on his tablet, and we talked about how completely legitimate that is.
Oh yeah, I definitely paid for it and absolutely gave my money to the makers of said.
To the Nintendo Corporation, who will put you down and kill
I'd
you.
put you down for someone that was into kind of like the EA type games, you know, the original EA games, like your Tiger Woods Golf or your.
I've got copies of copies of Tiger Woods. I could never get the hang of Madden, but when I was a kid, the game that I seemed to play more than anything else was Tony Hawk's. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, or Tomahawk, as someone that I know once said. I love that Tomahawk Pro Skater.
I used to play a lot of the. What was the snowboarding one that came out around the same time as Tony?
Oh yeah, I don't know. There was Matt.
There was
1080. There was Matt Hoffman Pro BMX. I remember getting that and thinking that one was good.
Used to be a big fan of the
X Games.
No, GTA games.
Yeah, and that's the one that I never
the
got
set
into.
of GTA games that were across like the PlayStation 2 were excellent. So like your Liberty City, Vice City, San Andreas.
Vice City, I remember thinking that Vice City could have, at that time I was like, this could be the pinnacle of games. Like,
well, it probably was.
Because it was. I mean,
me and my brother have looked at this
always, recently. Grand Theft Auto has always been the top of its game. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is like, I mean, that was when we were really looking at games like shit.
Well, in terms of sales, every Grand Theft Auto beats the previous one. Because, like, my brother was like, nah, there's no way San Andreas is bigger than Vice City. And I was like, I bet you it is. And they got bigger and bigger.
Funniest thing was when Rockstar were like, right, Sony, we want a slice. So we want a portion of PlayStation sales. And Sony were like, why? It's like, because people buy your console for our game.
Yeah, because you can't get it.
So Sony went away and they were like...
This has been brought up on podcasts before.
They came back and they were like, nah, we're good, thanks. So they're like, alright, okay. Alright, Microsoft, got a game you might be interested in. And from that point on, the Grand Theft Auto games went out across the board. And I mean, Sony will have lost a big chunk of change on that one.
Yeah, I remember playing the hell out of
game
like,
companies.
Liberty City, Vice City.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5, it's not the shortest game, obviously. I mean, anybody that's played a Grand Theft Auto game knows that on there. I've played Grand Theft Auto start to finish, could be at least 6 times, because it's just like, I need something to get my teeth into. I want fun. I want, running around, bit of driving, bit of shooting. Grand Theft Auto, let's do this.
I think that's what I mean, I like cars as well, and so it helps that kind of game. And then when they brought out the Red Dead, I was like, this is so slow. The original Red Dead. It's like I'm not into this.
When you say the original Red Dead, do you mean Red Dead Revolver?
No, I mean Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption.
Because obviously Red Dead Revolver was the first game, but that was just set in the Wild West, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was Red Dead Redemption.
So there was Red Dead Redemption, but that actually came later than Revolver.
Oh, I don't know this Revolver thing.
It's just because so when I was at uni for my birthday one year, James bought me an Xbox, and I think there was about 12 games that came with it, something like that, because he got it through. I think he got it through work. Like, so someone was just selling it on like the online.
The Pulse, it used to be called, didn't it?
And he was just selling it on there, and I think he got it for like 50 quid or something, because it was an Xbox, original Xbox. So what's that, like early 2000s?
I bought an original Xbox, also off the Pulse.
Tell you something, that is a fucking brick.
Yeah.
That you could kill a man with that.
Oh, easily.
I had that with
Jesus.
Fable when that first come out.
That might have even been one of the games.
Back when Peter Molyneux could make a game.
So I remember getting it and was like, brilliant, I'll take that to uni. Never took it to uni. Worse, don't think I ever played on that console.
Oh,
I just never got a chance to get it set up and stuff. I think he played it loads because he just had it and just was like, oh, well, until you come back and get it, I'll just keep it here because it's a bit of a bitch to try and send to you.
Yeah.
Because bear in mind, he was in York and I was down in Reading. So it was going to be a hell of a postage to try and send that through the post and stuff like that. Plus it'd probably get smashed up to shit. So yeah, and one of the games on that was Red Dead Revolver.
Ah.
And it looked like it was, I don't know if the box was supposed to, but it looked like Clint Eastwood on the cover.
Yeah, I just always thought it was too slow of a game compared to...
it really is. And
playing that. And then when 2 come out, I was like, I'm not interested at all. I've played a little bit of it with brothers. I quite like it, if I'm honest. But I've just played it a bit in isolation, and obviously I've not had to play it from the start. So he's like, I'm here.
I've seen bits of it when people have just said, seriously, just watch it for like how realistic the gameplay is and stuff like that. And it's the bit that my mate was showing me was some guy on a horse trying to steal someone else's horse.
Yeah, I mean,
this
is like saying this game. I've seen the bit of it. It's a guy on a horse. Like that's the game.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
You didn't like it though, did you?
No, I've done extensive podcasts about it.
It's slow. I mean,
yeah, it is.
My brother really likes it. He's played it, I think, more than once through. One feature I liked though is they've built loading screens on it to be just cinematic. So you're not just watching a load screen like you would have on GTA. It's the actual, like, if you're loading to go to another part of the map, the load screen is the guy travelling. So at least, I just thought it was quite a good touch.
Yeah, so at this point in time, a lot of games companies are trying to get round the loading screen because we don't accept it anymore as consumers and as games we don't accept loading screens. There have been like 2 or 3 games in the last few weeks that have been reviewed even as this is a great game, it's a wonderful game, but let's talk about the load screens. JK was talking about Metro, saying that one of the load screens for Metro was 4.5 minutes. It's like, that's beyond unacceptable for a game nowadays. And I was like, you got to look at what it's loading. Obviously, Anthem's had a lot of criticism for its loading. It's like, yeah, but look at what it's loading. You know, you don't have a loading screen while you're out in the world, apart from when you're going like into another, like into a dungeon sort of thing. But look at what it's loading in that time. You know, it might take a few seconds. Yeah, we just don't accept it these days. So games makers, games companies, games publishers and producers and whatever have to find a way round the dreaded loading screen. So yeah, make them more interesting.
I'm sure there was a game that you could play where there was like a mini game inside the loading screen.
Some companies did that.
I can't remember which game it was though. That's going to annoy me.
Do you remember I remember the real old days when I had my Commodore 64. Wow, that was some load screens there. It even had a bit, because I had like obviously like the tape deck, but mine had like a bit of a ropey connection in the back. So like, if I was halfway through a load screen, I wasn't able to. And like, I grew up in like quite an old house. It's like creaky floor. I'm like, can't move. Yeah. I can't even get up and go anywhere for fear of just like it wrecking the load screen.
Oh yeah, kids nowadays they don't know. They've never lived. Yeah. They'll never have to sit still for 19 minutes going, is it loaded? I can't move to check. So
well, not only that,
is it loaded?
They don't have to suffer the problems of watching a video
and having to rewind it.
And having to rewind the video before you take it back to the video shop.
But you can rewind. Yeah. I was watching, not quite on your recommendation, but it is something that you mentioned. I was going to mention that I've started the Umbrella Academy. And I watched the second episode last night. And in that, she puts a videotape into a videotape player and presses rewind. And I was like,
yeah, boy.
The things you forget.
Oh, yeah. I remember buying my first DVD player. And it cost me £180.
Yeah. 250 quid I paid for mine.
I was like, oh no. And then I think literally the week after I found one that was like 30 quid. I was like, for fuck's sake.
I've never owned a DVD player because I've always had like PCs.
You don't own a DVD player. I had to buy one. Oh no, sorry, I didn't buy it.
You bought one recently.
The missus bought one 2 weeks ago. Because
who needs a DVD player?
Because so she lives in a flat. And the guy in the downstairs
flat... Oh,
you
told me. They share the internet?
They share the internet because it's a house that's been turned into 2 flats.
And he went away and turned the internet off.
Oh, so he went away over Christmas and obviously turned everything off. So we had no internet over Christmas. Apart from the internet that was on our phones.
And obviously you're not the most sparkling company. She needed a DVD.
Clearly.
Oh.
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the statement he just made.
Did you manage to sort anything out with it?
So yeah, it was a case of like there was no entertainment other than what we could provide each other.
Was that? I was going to say, was that right?
So obviously, after the 30 seconds or so that clearly that's going to last, it was a case of, right, well, we could just watch regularly sort of like planned TV as in on the TV.
But do you not have like just an HDMI cable to hook up to your like iPad or whatever?
What's an iPad?
Do you not have an iPad?
What?
Or your phone?
No,
or had you wrecked your 4G at this point already?
No, so obviously, I've got my phone with the internet, and she's got her phone with the internet.
Yeah.
She's on 3, which has got unlimited data, but you've got a cap on how much you can cast. So she can obviously hotspot her phone to connect to the TV because she's got a smart TV.
Depends what you're casting though, right? Because I can hotspot with unlimited on 3 because like Netflix is like an official partner, so it doesn't actually go against any data.
Well, you see, that was not the case for us because she just hotspot her phone to connect to the TV. That's a smart TV, and then would just connect to Netflix or to Prime.
Yeah.
And then it would just run out.
See, I can hotspot, and any amount of people can run Netflix off my hotspot because it's like an official partner of 3.
So that's pretty cool. And obviously, I will definitely be taking you up at that the next time at work. And I am bored and want to watch some wrestling. So I'd have to use my own day. A little bit of a Royal Rumble at work. Yes, please.
What, everyone fights?
Oh, don't you tell me.
I'll be well up for that.
I've just bought tickets to... Well, I say my mates have bought tickets to a wrestling show in Newcastle. And apparently there's a initiation for first-timers at the shows, of which I will be one. And there's been jokes that it's a Royal Rumble style for all first timers. So I'm like, get in. I'll just dust off the old rubber singlet, and we'll be good to go.
What's a rubber singlet?
Oh, this guy. Unitard.
But a rubber one.
Well, just whatever I've been able to pick up in it.
All right. You've got a selection of unitards.
Who doesn't?
Me.
Lies.
Do you have a unitard?
When you say a unitard,
see? Multiple. Coloured.
A collection of unitards.
Different coloured, because obviously, when he's gone through his different tag teams, and his different gimmick changes.
Right, okay.
Welcome to Getting Over.
Getting Over After Dark.
That's that other type of wrestling, where it's a bit... You have to be 18 or over to access it.
And the two main components are mud and baby oil.
And naked ladies.
Yep.
His face.
So obviously the long and short of that was, yes, we do live in the Stone Ages. Unfortunately, we had to purchase a DVD player. And the internet is still not sorted, because she's now bought like a wireless dongle type thing that you just plug into the internet. You just plug it into the wall. It just provides the internet. But they can't deliver it unless there's someone in, and they can't deliver it. They can't deliver it at the weekends because, but they can. But it's an extra £10 or something like that to deliver it at the weekends, and you can't do a delivery time slot that's not less than 6 hours. So they could deliver it Monday to Friday, 12 till 6. You don't know when.
So you've either got to pay £10 or take it elsewhere.
Apparently, she just texted me earlier today to say it's been delivered to next door.
Right.
But when she went to lock on next door, They were in.
Disappointing.
Which is annoying, because tomorrow, again, dating this slightly, Middlesbrough on TV, and I've got about 800 meg of my internet left, and it renews on Thursday. So I'm absolutely... but in theory, I can pair off her phone. So I might have to nail her data for one more night. And then we'll be all fine.
Wow. You made me just think of something while we're talking about Essling, and we've been talking about. One of my go-to games, as much as I said, not
Raw vs SmackDown.
No, WWF Attitude on PlayStation 1.
I never played any of them games. I only ever played the sort of the.
It was good, was that?
The SmackDown games were the ones that I got started on.
They were
Apart from one of my favourite ones when I was growing up was WWF In Your House on the PlayStation. That was a good one.
That's when they really started running the SmackDown and Raw
against
franchises, weren't
things,
they? Yeah. So Attitude just was like, to me, it was like when it first... It was like, you know that period of time where it was on Channel 4? When they, like,
early 2000s, so about late 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember it well.
That was the game that was out.
Literally get the video in for that to record on. I used to get really excited because there was a pay-per-view called King of the Ring.
Yes, Lord.
And that was in, like, May, June every year. And then on Channel 4, once I saw this thing that flashed up, it was like KOT. I was like, oh my god, they've got King of the Ring on. And it's like KOTV. Oh, no, that's not what I was after. Didn't even know what the fuck it was. It just kept flashing up. And I was like, got really excited. And then, oh, no, it's not King of the Ring.
Was this back in the day where they used to just have, like, I suppose, like, the different majors of wrestling, where it was like... But there was just like 4 every year, weren't there? Like 4 major ones, so like your WrestleMania, your
way back when.
Survivor Series.
So the first WrestleMania was in 1985, and then from there, that was on its own for a couple of years, and then they brought in Survivor Series in 87, maybe, and then SummerSlam came after. Oh, maybe it was Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
it was in 89, and then SummerSlam was probably the same year or something. So they got to a stage where it was 4, and then they added the King of the Ring to make it 5, and then they basically just got to a stage where they were just adding more. So there's a DVD or a thing they released a number of years ago called the Monday Night Wars, which is when it was WCW against WWF, and they had Monday Nitro versus Monday Night Raw, and they were like literally head to head in the ratings and stuff like that. And the guy who was running the company at the time, WCW, said that he moved pay-per-views from 4 a year to 7 a year, and WWF followed. So he moved it to 10 a year, and WWF followed. And he was like, well...
At this point in time, was WCW like an actual legit rival?
Well, they were owned by Ted Turner. So obviously he's the guy who was behind CNN and stuff like that.
Because I remember watching like all the stuff that was on Channel 5.
Yeah, well that's the thing, because Channel 5 got the wrestling before Channel 4 did.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was Nitro, but it was just later in the week. And then obviously Channel 4 were like, oh yeah, we could get a little slice of this pie. And then because it was on Sky, just all the time, WWF was anyway.
So was that? When they first brought it out on Channel 4, was it Heat?
Sunday Night Heat, yeah. That was every Sunday, and then obviously every now and again they'd have the pay-per-view. So they had like 4 of the 12 pay-per-views would be on Channel 4. And they always got some of the good ones, because they didn't get WrestleMania, because obviously that was a big one to pay for.
Big lot of cheddar cheese, that one.
Yeah, so they got the Royal Rumble.
I remember watching the Rumble on Channel 4.
So I seem to remember it was Royal Rumble, it was Backlash, because you had the pay-per-view after WrestleMania. Then you got King of the Ring. And then I think they put Armageddon on, which was the last one of the year. So they always had 2 back-to-back. So it was the December one and then the January one.
Because I distinctly remember watching the Rumble when... Did Rock win the Rumble?
Yeah, that was the first one they had on Channel 4.
Yeah.
There was a really good match at that one. It was Triple H versus Cactus Jack.
Street fight?
In a street fight, and it was... spectacular. If you ask Stu to this day, he'd probably say it's one of if not his favourite matches.
I think there was Dudley Boys and Hardy Boys
in a table match.
Yeah,
I watched a video the other night, which was like people do like series on YouTube, like the most electrifying returns.
Excellent.
So I was watching part 2 because I've previously seen part 1, and they showed talking about WCW. Some of the WCW stuff, like the crowd were like, it was one step away from a riot. Like the volume and stuff. I mean, just insane. So I was proper taken aback by that because I was aware and had seen WCW stuff, but I mean it was WWF all the way sort of thing. But it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh,
one of or a return, and he sort of comes out and I was like, no, because he looked awful. So he was, and this coming from the Adonis that I am, but he looked incredibly overweight. He looked very old.
I seem to remember he was going through a stage where he was coming out in a boiler suit though, rather than like he's like.
This was like the blue, the blue pants.
I remember him like being in a boiler suit.
So there was. I'm pretty sure at some point there was like a part of his gimmick, which was that he became the champion. I think it was like the US champion because he'd found the championship in a bin. I'm sure. Don't quote me on it, but I'm almost certain that was the part of the storyline, and it was obviously like a case of why were you rooting around in a bin, and it was obviously the fact that he was a bit down on his look, and then was obviously just like, yeah, I'm a bit stinky, but that's just part of the gimmick. And then obviously he used to wear like grubby looking clothes to make it look more that he'd been just going about in bins and stuff.
All the grubby clothes and stuff. I remember all that. But this, when like because he came out and comes down to the ring and he's doing the moves, and it was like just
like, I remember on the WCW where like Ric Flair was rocking up doing stuff, and I'm thinking you're looking really old, but like this was like 20 years ago, and now he's still doing it.
He's on it now.
So bear in mind, Ric Flair
was it his 70th?
Ric Flair turned 70 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they were having a 70th birthday celebration on the show for him. And basically, the part of the story was...
Is he still wrestling?
He was supposed to come out... He's not, he's retired. He was supposed to come out and they were going to have a big celebration for him in the ring. And then obviously they played his music and he didn't come out. And then obviously they started playing his music again and announced him, and he didn't come out. And then obviously the camera just cuts to backstage, and he's getting dragged out of his dressing room by the returning Batista. Ooh.
Oh, is he back now? Is he stopped being a film star now?
No, he's still doing it, but he's got himself a match at WrestleMania.
I'd seen a video with Batista going, I'm not going to turn up today. Because I don't like Philadelphia or something. By the way, not turning up next time because don't like Pittsburgh.
Probably about right, yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the reason. So,
totally legit.
Just while we're talking about Ric Flair, is David Flair still knocking around?
No,
he was in the WCW. Please don't tell me he's dead.
No, although sadly, like Ric Flair had a younger son and he's passed away. He was only like 25 when he died. It's awful.
But yeah, when I was watching WCW and I was into it, they were really pushing David Flair at that point.
You need to change gender.
Yes, Charlotte. His daughter. Charlotte Flair. She's the.
Is it actually his daughter, or is that just
no?
Part
She's
of the show?
She's legitimately his daughter. Ashley Flair is her real name in real life. But yeah, Charlotte Flair. She's very good actually. Good.
She's up there.
She's definitely got her daddy's genes, and I don't mean wearing. David Flair gave up in about early 2000s. He got signed by the WWF.
I sent you that video of that bit in that Joe Rogan special where he was talking about like wrestling, and it's like the only situation where wrestling's acceptable is wrestling. So he's like,
what?
So he's like,
explain for me.
A fellow comedian guy called Tony Hinchcliffe was like, watch wrestling. He's like, no. He's like, come on, just watch it with me. He's like, no. He's like, watch one and see what you think. So he's like, right, fine, if it'll shut you up, I'll watch one. He's like, name another scenario where you're going to view a man comes out in pants wearing a leather mask, greased up, who's going to roll around with another man and tell me that that's a situation that's acceptable outside of that ring.
Well, I was going to say, because you've got like loads of people like in like maybe certain states in America that are going to be massive into wrestling, but are going to have very like extreme views on certain things.
But that's it.
And they're drinking beer, watching this happening,
loves wrestling,
and getting excited for it.
That out of that ring and put it anywhere else, and they'd be going ballistic.
Yeah.
So he then goes on. He's like, Don't get me wrong, I love wrestling. I used to love wrestling. When I was like every single person on the planet says used to like wrestling. It's like I visit The Rock's Instagram page every day for inspiration, and I think he mentions one other wrestler, and he goes, and Ric Flair, and the entire crowd just goes, woo, and he goes, we didn't rehearse that. That man has a noise connected to his name. It's like you can't argue with it. Like, however, take it out of that ring and it's a different situation.
Yeah. No, he's completely right.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's that sort of thing where I'm sure someone like covered it in a documentary that I watched, and it was something like it was a case of wrestling. It's got a lot better now, but for a long time, wrestling was that sort of you don't actually
comic books,
wrestling, do you?
Yeah. Comic books, Dungeons and Dragons, World of Warcraft, wrestling.
I'll tell you what.
20 years ago,
a lot of them have changed though now, and they're like cool perceived.
But this is the thing. It's now. Because 20 years ago, people were sort of. I don't know if nervous is the right word, but it's not embarrassed as such, but to an extent, they were socially embarrassed to accept or admit that they watched that sort of stuff, or they partook of that particular stuff in relation to Dungeons and Dragons. So but obviously, the world's become a lot more accepting of things.
20 years ago, if you'd have said to like a girlfriend,
it's the comic book one that
we're gonna go to the cinema and we're going to watch a superhero movie, you wouldn't have been going with your girlfriend. No. Now, Aquaman is the biggest DC movie of all time because women are buying the tickets.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen? Well, yeah. So.
Oh, is he going to say that he's got a man crush on Momoa?
No, I haven't. It's the fact that the missus is absolutely obsessed with him, but she's now annoyed because everyone likes Jason Momoa.
She knew him before he was famous.
It's not that. It's the fact that so she
knew him
before. What was he? He was in Game of Thrones.
He's Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. Yeah.
He's what?
He's called Khal Drogo.
Is he still in it?
No, they killed him off years ago.
Spoiler alert for anyone watching Game of Thrones. Never seen it.
So one of Jason Momoa's stories is that I think he got teed up to play Aquaman years before it became a thing. So he went into Justice League as Aquaman.
Yeah, because they did it arse about face, didn't they? And did the Avengers first.
Yeah.
And then did all the other
Avengers have assembled, and then we'll tell you how that happened later.
Yeah.
He got teed up for it for like 4 years before it happened, and he's like, I was so skint at the point they went, yeah, we're going to put you in a movie in a bit. And he's like, Can you do it now? It was like the years in between there. He got Game of Thrones, and
what was that TV show he did?
Game of Thrones.
Frontier, yeah.
So that was like popping and stuff. So he got work, but at the point they went, we're going to put you in this role, and we've got like big plans, this, that, and the other. He was like,
I don't really know
any chance you could do that a little sooner? They were like, no, we've got a lot of prep to do. We've got to release a couple of other movies first. And he was like, okay then. Just any day.
I could really use a steak. But yeah, that's that.
You wouldn't have been able to get away with just going, do you want to come back and look at my massive stack of comic books?
No, that's.
I don't know if you're going to get away with that now.
I'm not sure you're going to get away even now.
But you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't be out there going, I collect comic books.
You would not, because you would be on your own. And there's a lot of that stuff now that's very, very different thing. Dungeons and Dragons. So again, that's on the list. And then it started creeping into stuff. So there's an episode of Community. You must remember the Dungeons and Dragons episode.
I
of
do.
Community, and it's probably up there as one of the best episodes.
It's very funny.
I don't know this show.
You need to watch Community. It's funny.
Right, okay.
And the point where loads of Hollywood actors started playing Dungeons and Dragons. So there's a thing you can find on YouTube. Diesel. Vin Diesel loves Dungeons and Dragons. So there's like
Vin Diesel's famous for playing Warcraft as well, isn't he?
So you get, it's like a round table of loads of voice actors, like people who've done like loads of voice acting, and then on what's essentially a throne in the middle, Vin Diesel. And he fucking loves it. But that's off the back of Robin Williams was a massive Dungeons and Dragons fan. So he's
that doesn't surprise me though, because I
want to play Dungeons and Dragons.
He always came across as like a, really into sort of fantasy and role play and stuff like that because of his like acting, like his voice acting.
He's like, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons. So he'd like find a little group of Dungeons and Dragons, and they'd be like, "You're Robin Williams. did you know that?" And he's like, "Yeah, can we crack on? I want to play."
Time is money.
And it just wouldn't work. So he started a movement in Hollywood, getting Hollywood actors to play Dungeons and Dragons. So we had people to play with who didn't care that he was Robin Williams. So it sort of spread out from there. So again, another thing on a list of things now where you can go like a bit of Dungeons and Dragons, and nobody turns around and is like, "Oh God, oh you geek."
Apart from Ed, when we went into what's the pub near Sam's.
Rook and Gaskell?
No, over the road. Rook and Gaskell's the one.
Rose and Crown?
Whatever.
The Horse and Wagon? Horse and Wagon?
I can't. Yeah, maybe.
Wagon and Horses.
Not the one that's got the billiard table.
I think
the
it's
other one.
Oh, I'm so fucking confused now. Well, there's the three in there.
No, I don't know.
I think it's
but
the
anyway,
Wagon
we'd
and
been in
Horses.
there. I think it was me, you, and Ed, and they were having a little game in one of the back rooms, weren't they? And
these fucking nerds.
And then Ed was giving it all like, it's all shit, whatever. But my mate's like, maybe not.
That's it, man picked that up, mate.
Is that your phone or is that?
Jesus.
Yeah, he was quite outspoken about it. He was ready for a call them all out for being nerds.
He is a bit funny about certain things. Like some things, like first words out of his mouth on Monday morning. "Good weekend, Devil May Cry." I was like, "Yes." Like, "How far you got?" "I've finished it." He's like, "Oh." I got a bit stuck on the first boss and just started going into it. I was like, "Right, okay, morning, Ed." Good weekend.
I never pegged him. I know he does. It doesn't occur to me
that he's a real boy.
That he's not. I love how we're getting back to you have to carry it like
bless him,
lovely human, bit weird.
Lovely lad. I mean, he's a weird.
But no, I don't think of Ed as in playing through games like that. I imagine Ed on his VR, those kind of games. I don't imagine him just playing through like a game that's got any longevity to it.
He has like. He gets like me about games. He gets excited for a particular game's release, and he will be like, "Don't speak to me this weekend. Don't even attempt to try and get me to do anything. Just basically lose my phone number and forget I ever existed for the next 48 hours because all I'm doing, like Jurassic Park Evolution thing. He was like, Jurassic Park comes out and you can all fuck off. And then Monday, so I finished Jurassic Park and I got all the dinosaurs. So that's that. The Pokemons.
That's the inner artist, though, isn't it?
It's very artistic.
Easy.
The Pokemons. Right, you can all fuck off. Pokemon's out.
Oh,
next thing.
When Pokemon Go started, he was
finished
fully into it.
He was just wandering around York on his own, wasn't he?
But it was just like it was a case of like on breaks at work, he'd just go out walking for like 45 minutes just to catch Pokemon. But that was the good thing about Pokemon Go, because it was sort of actively sort of like getting people.
Got people out in the world, and people were complaining about it. All these people walking around, like looking at the phones, like
because there was some tools. There was some tools like
steps,
walking out in front of cars and
Yeah.
things like idiots. But if Sam was here, he'd just be like natural selection, isn't it?
Darwinism.
He's not wrong.
A lad I used to go to school with that I've got on Facebook, he posted a comment on a video on Facebook yesterday, and it was, I don't know when this was, so I don't know how current it was, but some woman who got like mauled by a jaguar or something because she's gone into its pen to take a selfie with it.
How fucking
and
stupid.
it's then rolling around on the floor and crying because it's had a go at her, and he's just put, as his comment was, Darwin and a little trophy. And I'm like, yes. Because those people, we should have been like, oh, did you go in there to get a selfie with that dangerous animal?
You're better out the gene pool now.
Shut the door, put the lock on and walk away. How fucking retarded do you have to be? I can't say that word anymore, can I?
It is.
Yeah,
it's otherworldly stupid.
But they'd be the type of people that would be expecting you to like take that cat out to save you.
Yeah.
After you've been a dickhead.
So there was the kid that fell in with the gorilla.
When you were talking, Harambe, I was thinking that, and I was thinking, was that an accident? I couldn't remember in my head whether someone actively went in.
He fell in the pen, which, you know, everybody's arguing it shouldn't have happened and stuff. But they shot the gorilla, didn't they? But then they review it afterwards, because, you know, that's how you want to look at one of these things. Look back and look at it, and they're like, he never attacked the kid. No. He dragged him around a bit and stuff, but there was points where it looked like he was protecting the child.
Yeah.
Like he was a bit like...
he was like dragging him, but I mean, it looked a bit, from memory, like a bit ragdolly, but at the end of the day, he's a massive gorilla.
Yeah.
And that's a little boy.
Yeah.
How is it going to look gentle?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't...
strength, does he?
I can't remember.
He's picking up an orange and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's just another one of those fuck-wittery.
Get in the
sun. Yeah, as I say with that one, I don't. With the Harambe one, I don't think it was anyone actively tried to get in there. It was just a kid just being a bit stupid on it and fell in. Can't remember.
It's like you always hear the story about the kids that walk out of like zoos with like penguins. They're the ones that make me. There was some little girl put a penguin in a rucksack, zipped it up, and was like put it on a back and walked out.
How does that even happen?
She wanted a pet penguin, and it's like, yeah,
why not? Aren't they? Yeah.
Why not? Every time I go to Tropical World in Leeds, and I look at them meerkats, and I'm like, I could put one of them in my jacket. Look at his little face. Look at him. He's like, what? Coming over you, yeah?
I imagine that your little housemates would have an issue with that.
They have an issue with everything at the moment. Jesus. Pair of them. Like my morning, my morning routine now is, you know, when you go, I'm going to preempt this is where I'm going to start sounding crazy. So my morning routine has now become, Dwayne sits on the landing, looks at me, because I'll be sat on the bed like trying to gear myself up for the day, and he's looking at me, looking at the bathroom, looking at me, looking at the bathroom, and I'm like, I'll be there in a minute. Then I stand up and go to walk out of the bedroom. He collapses on the floor, and I have to like use my foot on his belly, and he grabs hold of my foot and holds on, and I can rub his belly with my foot and stuff. Then I walk into the bathroom, and then I have to stand there and go, are you coming or what? Because I got shit to do here. It's like, got to get the day started. Are you coming or what? So he does it's like a commando crawl where he uses his claws to pull him along the carpet, and then eventually stands up and walks into the bathroom. Because otherwise, if I don't do that, because I've learned, if I shut the bathroom door,
he's on the door,
straight through the door. It's like, so then,
where's his mate while this is happening?
And like staring Leanne in the eyeball to eyeball. I'll tell the rest of the story while I find the picture from literally yesterday. So he's like, he comes in the bathroom and then he tells me that we're best friends. He does this by going like between my legs and round and round, and then eventually, because we all know the way it's going, eventually he'll jump on the sink and then he nudges me with his head. He's like, come on, do it. And I tease it, and I'm like, best friends, yeah, best friend club, me and you, best friend club. And he's like,
I don't know where you go.
yeah, but come on. Because what he wants me to do is put the tap on the sink so he can play with the water. So he sits and he's like, come on, best friends, yeah? And I'm like, yeah, best friends. But how good have you been in the last 24 hours? And I rate how good he's been in the last 24 hours. And if he's been good, I'll put the tap on and that's him done. He's in that sink, he's playing with the water. But the thing that annoys me is he does this. He opens his paw like that and then he goes over his shoulder onto me at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm freezing, going, and then he's just trying to get the water. So I keep asking him if he wants to go in the shower.
Sounds good though, that.
I keep asking him if he wants to go in the shower, and he's not convinced. But what I started doing, because I'm like, well, I need to brush my teeth. So I pick him up and I put him on the toilet seat. I put the seat down, put him on it. And this morning's the first morning where he went, let's see what this shower's about. So I went in the shower and he sat and watched the whole process. And afterwards I got out and he was like, all right, I'll think
Might
about
give
it.
that a go.
So then either he'll have to lie on the bath mat or he has to sniff 1 square inch of the towel rail and then it's time to go.
It's got his routine.
But to answer the question about what Skizmo up to at that point in time, something like this.
Bizarre little bastard.
Literally
When
like
we used to
what
have a
you're
cat, the amount of times I'd just like wake up on the chest, just
Yeah.
look it in your face.
Yeah.
It's like, how long have you been there? Probably like
I would not have been up
hours.
for that.
No.
No. Oh.
It's changed a little since then.
Oh.
Look at him. And his idiot brother. So yeah, that's the start.
I'm always fascinated by stuff like that because
Every
obviously, like, if they're both from the same litter, yet they have completely different markings. How is that possible?
Because like litters don't work necessarily like how humans produce babies. Some will end up just getting the dominant gene from one parent,
Right.
and some will get it from the other parent. won't they?
See.
Or Ed and his twin sister.
Yeah, but
Sam's probably slagged her off at some point.
they've got the same face, haven't they?
But you can tell. You can tell
if
they're
you didn't
related.
know them and you'd never met them, and you walked into a room and there was 20 guys.
I wouldn't
and
go
20
twin,
girls,
but I think I'd like to think that.
and you
I could
had to pick
spot-
out the 2 twins.
No, I don't think I would put them as twins, but I reckon I'd notice they were siblings.
If it was me, I'd be like, "Have you 2 ever met?"
Just think they both look like Judy in their own different way. Yeah, so they've got the dense face, haven't
The
they?
dench face.
There's a dense face, isn't there?
I was watching a video, Sir Ian McKellen talking about him and Jude dancing around the throne room at Buckingham Palace.
Jesus.
They were trying to find the throne. Probably behind the curtain. That's everything in this life is.
Oh, always.
The man behind the curtain.
Wow.
See?
Yeah, I'm just. Is there no donuts to reveal tonight?
No donuts. No food.
I was going to say
Right.
hungry Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we were like, 70 minutes? Definitely not. I'll tell you what.
Delivering it around 2200. Nothing. Not even a confirmation yet.
Holy shit, Bob.
Although just say waiting confirmation.
It's been at least 60 minutes.
It's gone now to order confirmed. Thumbs up from the restaurant. And now we're just waiting for delivering around 2200. But
Oh dear.
nothing.
Oh dear.
I think this. I think
I'm gonna
this
stop
has
that one
reached
there.
an
That one has
actual end,
reached.
hasn't
I
it?
think we've reached terminal velocity.
Terminal velocity. Right then, bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
bye, bye,
Bye.
bye. So there you go then. What do you think to that? Another one in the bag. Yep, these are becoming the fast favourites, as I say. So while you guys keep enjoying them, we'll keep doing them. YouTube watchers, turn yourselves into YouTube subscribers. Click for notifications. Everybody else, jump over to thecookiecast.com. Check out our social media feeds and our email functions, and drop us a line and tell us how you're getting on. Maybe send us a subject matter you'd like us to discuss. So yeah, that's another one in the bag. And until next time, I'm going to say goodbye.